Good morning, yogis, or good afternoon, whatever. This is going to be some chair yoga today. Kind of a rainy day. This is Memorial Day weekend, 2020. Thanks for watching my YouTube videos. Please go to our Facebook page, which is called the Yoga Collective Alaska or Yoga Collective AK. Check out other offerings these other instructors have on Zoom. And it looks like we're not going to be going back to the studio. It's going to be, I hate to say, but I think it's permanently closed as the events with the COVID-19 have resulted in, another untimely situation for us. But we're all still together here online with the community, and we're talking about other ways to bring the community back together. Maybe some outside yoga this summer, and maybe we can get back into a studio at some point. But for right now, for the foreseeable future, it's going to be online. So please join us with all of our activities and all of our events that we're doing, and yeah, so it's a little tough to say we're not going to go back in the studio, but we're still here as a community. So anyway, today I'm going to do some gentle chair yoga, nice and easy, and similar to what I did the other day, but we're going to do also move into a few standing poses, easy standing, easy balancing poses for the our yoga session today. So I'm going to get my mind square on the yoga and away from the studio. So I've got a chair, just a regular old chair. I've got a bolster here, which you can use a pillow or a roll-up blanket, works really good. I've also got a belt, and if you have a strap, you can use a strap, something to maybe just go around the leg, around the foot like this. Goes right around the ball of the foot like this, so we can do that. So we're going to sit on a chair. I like to kind of sit toward the front of the chair. I don't want to be have my back against the back, because you want to have a nice straight back. Sit up on your sit bones, rotate your pelvis not too far forward so your chest doesn't stick out too far, and not too far back. You want to round, nice and straight back. Bring your lower ribs down just a little bit until you feel your abdominals engaged. That sets your torso in a vertical plane. Knees are hip width apart, and my ankles are directly underneath my knees. And then we're just going to start a little bit. So we're just going to take our head, turn to the left, stretch the neck muscles there a little bit, come back center, turn to the right. Come back center, we go up, stretch the neck muscles in the forward part of the neck, and then we look down. Don't lean your shoulders forward, just tip your head forward, look at the space between your feet, really stretch the back of your neck. Come back up now. Now we're going to do a little bit of exercise for the muscles around the eyes. So keep your head forward, look in the upper right corner. Now go down the lower left. Come back center, upper left. Come back center, lower right. And now just come center. We're going to go straight up. We're going to go straight down. We're going to go to the right, look to the right, and look to the left. Good. Just get things moving today. So now we're going to take our shoulders, shrug them up by your ears, back and down. Shoulders up, back and down. Our torso doesn't move, just our shoulders, shoulder blades, back, down. Now, go the other way. Back, up, forward, and down. Back, up, forward, and down. One more time. Back, up, forward, and down. Good. we're going to take our hands and we're going to clasp the fingers of the hands, invert, push out in front. And really push out in front. If this doesn't work for your wrist, you can do it this way. But a lot of times we have our wrists like this, so it's good to invert your wrists. So we're getting stretch through our forearms, through our wrists. Now we're just going to come up, reach for the ceiling, reach high. And then our right arm comes down. You grab onto the chair. Left arm comes over for a lateral bend. Rotate your hands so your thumb points toward the ceiling a little bit. And with this, then you can turn your neck, look down at the floor a little bit. And turn your neck, look up toward the ceiling. And then come back up and over. Other arm comes up and over. Right arm up, left hand down toward the chair. Rotate, externally rotate your upper arm where your thumb's more toward the ceiling. Get a big lateral stretch to this side. Breathe into that right lung now. Feel those ribs expand on the right side. You can look down. You can look up. That just stretches different parts of your back and your chest. Come up and over and down to the side. Now I'm just gonna turn my chair a little bit so you can see. I'm gonna sit sideways on the chair. Same way I was before, sit sideways on the chair. Hands then come up just in front of you, and with the strength of your abdominal muscles, make a rotation toward the back of the chair. The hands can come onto the chair just for stability. And then look over if you're turning to the right, look over your right shoulder. So we get a full twist of the spine all the way from the sacrum through the lumbar, thoracic, cervical. Just wring it out. And then we come back in the center, nice and easy. And then we're going to rotate to swivel around the other side. Hands come up, twist toward the back of the chair. And look over your back shoulder. Nice straight spine. We're just wringing out the spine, giving it a twist. And then come back in the center. 6 ranges of motion of the spine. We'll go through all of them. Now, I'm going to take my legs out wide. Still aiming to keep my ankles roughly underneath my knees. Legs come out wide. Nice straight back. I'm going to hinge at the hips. My back stays straight. Hinge at the hips until you can't go any farther with a straight back. And then you can round your back. Hands come to the floor. Or if you had a pillow or a block or something, hands can come onto that. And we just come forward into a sitting Uttanasana, forward fold. We're lengthening the spine here, getting axial extension to the spine. And then come up halfway, nice straight back again. Hands on your knees, and then you can push yourself up into a vertical position again. Now, I want to sit sideways and I want to do just a little bit of a back bend, So I'm going to engage my abdominal muscles first, engage the abs, and then my collarbones rotate upward. My head comes back a little bit, just a little bit of a back bend, not much, just nice and gentle. But engage your abs, that protects your lower back. Good. And then come forward. And then just kind of move around, circle your hips. We do this standing quite a bit. Now we can do it sitting as well. Go the other way, unwind. So now we're just going to do cat-cow a little bit, just a little bit more movement. I feel like we want to do just a little bit more movement. So on an inhale, I do this back bend, engage my abs, a little bit of a back bend. On an exhale, we come forward, we just round the spine. Inhale, big inhale, big exhale. One more time. Big inhale. Big exhale. Good. Okay, now I just want to loosen up the arms a little bit more. So we're going to take our hands like this, and we're just going to do the wave. First one way, make a nice, slow, big wave. It's like you're in Hawaii. Pretend like you're on vacation in Hawaii. Surfing the waves, body surfing, playing out there. Go the other way. Yeah, there we go. And then check that out. Now, reach over with one hand and grab the opposite hand just at the wrist, just like this, and then pull traction on that. We're just pulling a little traction on our wrist. Rotate one hand one way, one the other way, so that we get a little bit of movement in that wrist. Not much, I mean, it's just a few millimeters. And then swap hands, grab right around the wrist, pull traction. Gives a little bit of space in your wrists. This is good help for healthy wrists, especially if you do a lot of computer work or a lot of things where your hands are down like this. We're getting a little bit of wrist action. So then just rotate those around. Good. Now, come sideways on your chair, and depending on depending on the length of your legs, you may need a blanket below your chair. I'm going to move this back a little bit so you can see. You may need a blanket below the chair or a bolster. But what we're going to do, and my leg's pretty long, so I don't need that. But we're going to take one leg back and one leg forward, and the knee then comes onto the floor. I'll come back a little bit more so you can see that. Knee comes onto the floor. If you had a bolster or a blanket or a pillow, knee comes onto that. But what I want to do, see, for me this is a little bit too high because it's throwing me toward the back of the chair. So get rid of that. Come onto that where I can get this leg back. And then I want to stretch this back leg back in a comfortable distance. I want to get a psoas stretch on this right side. I'm facing the left side of the chair. Right leg is down. Left leg is out in front. Knee approximately over the ankle. And then, hand on the back of the chair. I'm going to engage my abs, get a little bit of a back bend. Arm comes up. This is like a warrior one, a low lunge, but we're doing on a chair. And then we come forward. And then when we come forward, I want to just hold on to that chair and just lean forward with your torso, but don't round the back. Come back up. Let's do it one more time. Engage the abs. Up and back. Inhale. Exhale, you come forward. And we come back onto the chair. Good. How was that? If we were in a studio, I would get your feedback, but we can't get feedback online so well. So now we come the other way. My left leg is down. I'm facing the right side of the chair. Left leg is down and behind me. And I'm going to push that knee back to where I can get a good stretch in this left psoas muscle. Right ankle below right knee, hang on to the back of the chair. Left arm up, engage your abs. Get a little bit of a back bend, look up toward the ceiling. Think long through your spine too, so we want to extend the spine up toward the ceiling with a little bit of a back bend. Now come forward with your torso just a little bit, a few inches forward. And then one more time, we come back, we come up. And then we come forward, just a few inches forward. And we come back in the center, come back onto your chair. Very cool. Okay, now I want to grab your belt or your strap, whichever one you have. Now for this, I'm going to sit right up on the edge of the chair. I'll turn sideways so you can see me a little bit. Sit right up on the edge of the chair. I'm going to have my left leg right in line with my hip, ankle below my knee, right leg. I'm going to lift up. I'm going to put that belt right below the ball of my foot, right there. Hang on to that belt. And my leg comes out in front of me. So we're going to do a Padagustasana, sitting Padagustasana. And if your knee needs to be bent, that's fine. You can straighten it, that's good. Keep your spine nice and straight. Rotate your hips. The top of your hip goes forward. Top of your hip goes forward, so you're not rounding your back. Nice straight back, nice straight spine, just like we're sitting here. Keep your spine nice and straight. Belt comes up. Maybe your leg only comes up that high. Maybe it just barely comes off the floor. That's cool. That's fine. If you need to, if you want to bring your leg up and your torso rotates back, that's okay too, as long as we're keeping our spine nice and straight. So leg up. Now push into that belt with your foot, just like you're stepping on the gas pedal. It's like you're trying to race your way to the ice cream store wearing your mask. Push into that belt like you're stepping on a gas pedal, but at the same time, let's take a reset here. Lower your leg a little bit. Now, push into that belt and push your femur, your thigh, away from your hip. Push it away as much as you can. Just think, we're not rotating our hips so much, but just think, I want this thigh to move away from my hip. I want to get a little space right here in that joint. Push it away, push into the belt. Now, raise your leg up with the help of the belt, just whatever you can, and you might get a little bit higher this time. When you get a little space between your femur and your pelvis, you can often get a little bit more movement of that. Now we're stretching our hamstring muscle pretty good here. Push into that belt. Now, take both sides of that belt in your right hand. If your right leg's extended in your right hand, grab onto that chair with your left and bring the leg out to the side. Just whatever you can. Keep that foot fairly vertical, just so we're not doing too much of an external rotation. Fairly vertical. Spine nice and straight. Inhale. Big inhale, big exhale, big inhale, big exhale. One more. And then come back in the center. And then take straps in both hands. Come across just a little bit. So if I'm straight right there, I'm just coming across just to where my other knee is. Just about 3 or 4 inches or so. This is Padagustasana 3. So if your leg is straight out, that's 1. Out to the right side, that's 2. When your right leg crosses over center line toward your left, that's Padagustasana 3. There you go. Little Sanskrit lesson for today. Now bring your leg back into center, bend that knee, and let that one down. And just get a little movement in that hip, in that thigh, and then come on to the other one. So I'm going to place the belt just below the ball of my foot, like that. The right leg is out, my spine nice and straight. Start with your leg down now. Push your femur away from your pelvis. Push the ball of your foot in toward that belt. And then, with the help of the belt, raise that up whatever amount you can. And maybe it's not very much. Maybe it stays on the floor. That's okay too. Inhale, exhale. Push into that belt. Push your femur away from your pelvis. So we're not cramming into that joint. We want to get space in that joint by using your muscles and push that femur away. Push that thigh away from your pelvis. Nice straight back, hips rotated forward. Now, belt in both sides of the belt in the left hand. Grab on that chair with your right, and the leg comes out to the left. This is Padagustasana 2. Spine still straight. Foot rotated directly toward the ceiling, toes directly toward the ceiling on your upper leg. Stretch that hamstring on the back. If you need a little bend in that leg, that's cool. That's fine too. Open that up. We're stretching the adductor muscle, which is a big muscle on the inside of the legs. It's a great big muscle we don't get to stretch very often because we don't often move that way. Now come back in the center, belt in both hands, and come across to your right knee. Left leg across to your right knee. Just a little bit, 3 or 4 inches. Back still straight. Foot up, push into that like a gas pedal. Push that femur away from your pelvis. Lots of things to remember. And then bend that knee generously and take that belt off. And I'll just shake that out. Good. Okay, now we're going to do a little standing sequence. So, we're going to learn how to sit up out of a chair first. We spent a lot of time in teacher training learning how to do this properly. So we're going to sit in a chair. I'm going to sit right on the front of the chair, or you can sit back a little bit if you like, but just not all the way toward the back. I like to sit up a little bit so my spine stays straight. Now, sit your ankles underneath your knees, spine nice and straight. When we get out of the chair, we don't want to round our back and then strain our back muscle to get out of the chair. So the back stays nice and straight. Hands on the front of the chair. I'm going to just rotate my hips forward. The hips are used for rotation. Rotate my hips forward. I can bring my legs back underneath me if I need to a little bit for center of gravity. And then I'm going to just push off the chair. My back stays nice and straight. And I'm looking right at the floor. So I'm kind of doing a uttanasana as I push off the chair. My back stays nice and straight. Push forward. Hands come on the thighs. And then you can just raise right up. And then when you sit down, the same way. So we're going to keep our back nice and straight. We're going to bend our knees, hands on your legs. Come down, hands on the chair, and come right back onto the chair. That way we protect our back getting in and out of the chair so we don't hurt our spine. Cool. Okay, now, take that chair. We're going to do a little bit of a balancing activity now, because as Christiane always says, excuse me, balance is use it or lose it, and we don't want to lose it, so we're going to use it. So we're going to stand next to the chair, I'm on the right side of the chair. My left hand's touching the back of the chair just for balance. We're going to come into tree pose because just in the last little bit, all the leaves have come out onto the trees, and it's looking really green out there. So tree pose, I'm going to first put the weight into my left leg. So the chair's on my left side, I'm going to balance on my left leg. Before I do that, I want to engage my left thigh. My back's nice and straight, torso's nice and straight. Engage my left thigh, engage my left glute, my butt muscle. Engage those. Think of a root coming out of that left foot deep into the ground. Excuse me, as you're grounding. The right foot then comes up and out, and maybe this is your tree right here. So if this is your tree, let's all start right here in this position. Watch this left hip. We want to bring that left hip in the midline. So you put your finger right on your hip, bring it right in the midline so you can pay attention to it. That finger, all that does is point attention to it. You're not really pushing it. Bring it in the midline with your torso muscles. Bring it in the midline, hold that, and then here's your tree. Maybe you let go of that chair. Maybe this is your tree today. If you like a little more, you can grab onto that chair, bring your foot just up to your calf, to where your calf muscle is kind of in the arch of your foot. Again, watch that hip, bring it in. If you like a little more, you can bring that leg, that foot clear up above your knee. Just don't place your foot right on your knee. That puts a lot of strain on that knee. You can bring it up. My pants slide down, so I'm going to stay right down here like this. Now, if you want a little bit more balance, the hip in, a little more balance, find a drishti, which is a focal point. Find a focal point, and maybe your arms come out to the side. Maybe they go up and overhead. Maybe your gaze comes up toward the ceiling. Arms come down. Maybe you rotate to the right with your torso. Back to center. Rotate to the left with your torso. You can do all this with your hand on your chair too. And your foot on the floor for that matter. So back to center, and then foot down, and then just shake that out. Feel the work that your left glute was doing. And we're just going to move that chair around to the other side, or you come around the other side of the chair. There you go. Now, right leg, engage your thigh, engage your glute. Think of a root deep out of that foot. This foot comes up. We're going to externally rotate our leg to where our knee comes out to the side. Think about your hip. So we bring that hip right up in the midline. Top of your hips are square, level. Here's your tree. Maybe one arm comes up. Maybe both arms come up. Maybe this leg comes up a little bit. Or high, whatever you like it. Just think of this knee, this left knee that's up. Externally rotate that to where it comes out to the side. Just use the strength of your torso. As you do that, we don't turn our torso to the side so much. We just bring it out to where our hips stay straight toward the front of the mat, and our knee just comes out to the side. Good. Find a focal point, and maybe hands come up and toward the sky. They come out to the side. We rotate to the left. Our torso, and then we rotate our torso to the right, keeping our hips square. Back to center, hands to heart center, and shake that out. Cool. Okay, now I want to do a little bit more. So we're going to come into a gentle series of standing poses, standing stretches. So we want to start I'm just going to do this kind of sideways with the back of the chair toward you, facing you. And then I'm just going to back up the distance to where my ankles and my knees can be directly underneath my hips. So I'm coming into a downward dog. Bend your knees a little bit. This is more about your back staying straight than it is your legs. We don't need straight legs. Have your feet underneath your hips and come in to where your ears are between your biceps, and then think long between your hands and your hips. Long between your hands and your hips. Really stretch out those underarms. Maybe you have to walk back a little bit. Stretch out those underarms. Yeah, you're looking good. You're all doing great. Big inhale, big exhale. This is downward facing dog. And then we're going to bend our knees. We're going to come up. We're going to step our right foot forward toward the chair. Back leg stays straight. And our front knee directly over our front ankle. There you go. And we come up with our torso, nice and vertical with our torso. High lunge, if you like. You can release your arms, come up. Crescent lunge. Engage your abs, a little bit of a back bend. Come down. Step back into your downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Come up with your torso. Step the left foot forward toward the chair, just to where you can, it's not too big a step. Keep that back leg nice and straight so we can stretch our calf muscle, which is called the gastrocnemius. And here my forward leg, my left leg, my ankle's directly underneath my knee. And my knee is directly forward. Come up with that arms. And you can leave your arms on the chair if you like. You can maybe leave one arm on the chair for balance. Or you can raise both arms. Look toward the ceiling. Stretch long between your fingertips and your tailbone. Come back down. And we're just going to come back into our downward facing dog. Good. And then we're going to walk forward to the chair. We're going to turn that chair around. Step back a little bit to where I can then put one foot up on the chair. Adjust that. Good. Now we're doing something similar. We're going to come up. As we engage our abs, come up. A little bit of a back bend. And we're going to come forward. As I come forward now, I'm going to straighten that front leg as best I can. As best I can on that front leg. And maybe you can reach the chair, or maybe not. Maybe your leg doesn't straighten. Maybe you want to keep your spine nice and straight. Maybe this is as far as we go. You can straighten that front leg, straighten it, come forward with your torso. Maybe you can reach the back of the chair for stability. You can also do this sideways. If you have the chair sideways, your foot comes up like this, and then the back of the chair is a little closer to you this way. So then we come forward. So we're doing, this is Parsvottanasana, using the chair. So again, a big stretch in my hamstring, spine nice and straight, standing legs straight. You can have a micro bend in both these knees if your legs tend to hyperextend. Now, this foot that's on the chair, dorsiflex it, which means pull your toes back toward your knee, get more of a stretch in the back of your leg, the calf muscle and the hamstring. And then bend that leg forward and come back up into standing. You can turn that chair around the other way if you like. Just loosen that up a little bit. Left leg up on the chair this time. And then we're going to just lunge forward just a little bit. It's okay if you come forward, if the knee comes forward. This is primarily for a stretch in the psoas muscle. Come up, engage your abs, a bit of a back bend here. If you want to push a little bit forward, you can push forward, but just be careful that we're not straining any ligaments as we do that. And then when we come forward, then we're going to take our forward leg, we're going to straighten it out. Our standing leg is straight, maybe micro bend in the knees. Dorsiflex that upper foot back toward your knee. Spine is nice and straight. Maybe this leg that's on the chair, maybe you have a generous bend in that knee. That's okay too. We're just working on stretching that hamstring is what we're doing. And the calf muscle, gastrocnemius. Good. And then come up and shake that out. Good. Okay. How are we feeling? So now we want to do a little more continuing. We're going to take the chair. You can leave it as you had it, but I'm going to come into the back of the chair now, and I'm going to step my right leg forward, just right behind the back of the chair. Let me move back so you can see where I'm at. There we go. My back leg comes back. I'm going to come into a warrior two now, and your legs don't have to be very far apart. You know, keep your legs at a comfortable distance, but line up your front heel with your back heel. If you drew a straight line from your front toes through your front heel, that would intersect your back heel. Your back foot, bring your back foot toes a little bit more toward the front of your mat, toward the front. So your back foot is like a 30-degree or 45-degree angle toward the front. Good. And bend that forward knee just a little bit to where your knee's over your ankle. You can hang on to the chair for balance if you like. This is warrior two. Back arm comes up. If you like, you can let go of that chair, front arm comes up. And your arms now are one's directly over your front leg and the other's over your back leg. So your arms are directly over, so you're like in this aligned warrior pose. Your back arm then can come up at the elbow. There's your warrior two. Big inhale, big exhale. Extend that back arm and then come forward. Good. There's your warrior two. And then for warrior, let's do the other side. So now I'm standing with my left foot right at the back of the chair. My right foot comes back. I align the heels of my front foot. From the toes to the heel of my front foot intersects the heel of my back. I'm not too spread out. Front knee directly over front ankle. Hang on to that chair if you like. As you rotate your torso and your hips, my hips, when I do that, my hips kind of rotate about 45 degrees sideways. The hips do not come all the way sideways. They can't really do that. And they don't stay forward. The hips do rotate about 45 degrees or something like that. Arms then come out. You can keep one arm on the back of the chair for stability. And your gaze is over your forward arm. Straighten out that back leg. Push into the toes of your front foot. That helps to open up the hip crease on your front leg. Now think of your back leg. Put weight on the outside edge of that back foot. Raise the arch of that back foot. Same with your front foot. Think of the arch in your front foot raised. Think of your torso now as nice and straight, so we're not leaning too far forward, too far back, where our torso stays nice and vertical. Warrior 2. You can raise that back hand up, make it nice vertical with your forearm. Straighten that out, arms down, and come back up. Very good. Warrior 2. Now we're going to do one more. This gets a little bit more advanced, so depends on what you like to do. We're going to come into Warrior 3. So we've done Warrior 1, seated, standing, Warrior 2. Now we're going to just come to Warrior 3. So we're going to, just like we did the downward facing dog, have the back of your chair where you like it. Come into your downward dog. Bend your knees. Now on this one, pretty simple to describe. It's much harder to do, and we just raise our back leg. Maybe your back leg only comes to there. But if you can bring your back leg up to hip height, this is Warrior 3. Head down between your biceps, back leg up. Your toes on your back leg directly toward the floor. Toes directly toward the floor. Push out of that back foot. Push in your standing leg. And then release that. Come back down into your downward facing dog. And then just walk forward and release that. Good. And we come back into our downward facing dog. Find your point where your right foot is directly underneath your hip. Nice straight back. And bend that knee a little bit on your standing leg if you like, or you can keep it straight. It depends if you have hyperextension. Back leg comes out. It's nice and straight. Maybe that's as far as it goes. If you like, you can raise up whatever height you like. Toes directly toward the floor. Warrior 3. Balance on the chair. Come forward, come down. Good. And that is our Warrior series, Warrior 1, 2, and 3. And that's where we're going to take that today with that Warrior series. So bring your chair back in to center. Grab your pillow or your blanket or your bolster, whatever you have handy. Sit up on the edge of your chair, and we're just going to do one last twist. So arms up and overhead, reach, stretch that spine, and then we're going to twist to the right. Right hand comes over the back of the chair, left hand then comes to my right knee. As I get a nice big twist there. Now, look over your left shoulder. You're twisting to the right, but have your gaze over your left shoulder. Good. You're looking good. And then come back up around the center. Arms again, straight up. Rotate over to the left. Left arm comes on the back of the chair, right arm over your knee. Look over your front shoulder now, over your right shoulder. If you twist to the left, look over your right shoulder. That's it. Nice straight spine. We're just wringing it out one more time. We'll twist. Big inhale, big exhale, and then we come back into center. One last restorative slash shavasana. Although I'm not going to lay down today, you're welcome to take plenty of time with this. You can use this as a restorative pose or your shavasana. If you want to go into full shavasana, do this first, and then lay horizontal on your mat or on the floor, and just relax. Relax all your muscles, and keep your brain active on your breath. So with this, I'm just going to widen my knees a little bit, place my bolster or my blanket or my pillow right up against my abdomen, and I'm just going to do a forward fold right over that thing. I'm going to grab hands on opposite elbows, and then I just relax. Nice extension of the spine doing this as I release all the muscles. Just sitting on the bone structure. Nice big inhale, big exhale. And you can stay in this pose for as long as you like. Thanks so much for watching my yoga video today. You can subscribe to my channel if you like for other videos. I'm going to have another one. I've had several already posted on YouTube. I'm going to have some more coming out, so keep tuned. Look at the Facebook page. That's where you'll find both me and the other instructors. And we're all happy today on Memorial Day. Thanks for all the people in service that have fought for this country. Hands together. Peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, and peaceful heart. Namaste.